This episode of The Answer is Yes Baja Sessions is brought to you by Baja Bound Insurance Services. Driving to Mexico? You can buy and print out your Mexican auto insurance policy online in minutes with their easy-to-use website. They also have great travel information to help you plan your trip south of the border. Visit bajabound.com.
Hello and welcome to this week's Baja Sessions podcast. We're a part of The Answer is Yes, which is regularly aired on Wednesdays, and this is our Baja show. And we try to bring people and activities to you that happen down in Baja and keep you up to speed with what's going on down there. Had a great show last week. We talked to Benji from London and his travels. And I'm betting that Benji wishes he had one of these vans that we're about to talk about on the next part of the show. So I have called Duran Morley, who just got back from Baja. Hey, Duran, are you on the line?
I am. You there?
Yeah, buddy. Hey, you got back last night from Baja, or when did you get home?
We got back Sunday morning.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So I understand you went down with your mom and your brother, and you guys had a good time. What did you do down there?
Yeah, went down Friday morning. You know, of course, we had to make the first stop at a taco stand, got some El Pastor tacos. Went from there and explored some of the wineries. Went about to 3 wineries Friday and then 2 more Saturday.
Yeah. Now, well, first of all, we always talk about tacos on the show. Do you know where you went to get your tacos at? Were you in Rosarito or in Ensenada?
That spot right before or right after Punta Mora, I always forget the name. It's right on that corner.
You're gonna have to.
You definitely know the spot.
You're gonna have to come back again and give us a name. See, our listeners are listening for resources on the best tacos. So next time we have you on, you're gonna have to know your best taco stand name. I do know the spot, but I'm not gonna give it away.
Oh man.
and by the way, for our listeners, tacos are a big deal. I mean, you can drive for hours just to find the best one. Meaning from California south, Arizona south, because it is worth the trip down. I'm sure Duran will attest to that, right, buddy?
Definitely. I mean, let's face it, any taco stand in Mexico is going to be better than your taco stand here in California.
That's true, because you're in Mexico. So
yep.
I think you told me that you haven't really visited the wineries before. So was this your first time seeing wineries down there in Baja?
Yeah, I haven't. This is my first time going down and exploring the whole the whole wine region and, seeing it firsthand.
Well, I think you can give us a lot of value today on this show. If you can give us some details about, your thoughts as you arrived to the first winery, maybe who that was and what you guys did and what really stood out amongst the wineries that you went to.
Yeah, so I don't remember every name of each winery. I mean, you kind of get caught up in the whole scenery and everything that's going on. You forget the name, just blows past. But I do remember the first one we went to. That was Quattro.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So that was pretty amazing. You pull up to it. It's right on the base of a mountain. The full wine thing. You have all the grapes. You have all the testers. You have everything right there. You go hop in a trolley. Trolley takes up the mountain. And then you have this beautiful lookup point. And at this point, it was about sunset. So go up there. Sun setting, you have a full little stage up there, tables, couches, and this kind of almost want to call it a little kind of club per se, but it's like a little restaurant area, and they have a couple different food trucks there, and it overlooks the whole ocean on top of a cliff. It's just amazing, the look. Looks like $1 million place here, and it's just so nice. There's about 15 people there. And you just sit down on the couches, kind of relax, have cheese platter, wine. It's just unbelievable. It's definitely something that you're not going to get in the States.
Yeah, I like to tell people that view from Cuatro y Cuatros is probably a top 10 lifetime view of the Pacific Ocean, really because it overlooks, it feels like you're on top of the water, and especially at sunset watching it go down, right?
It does.
Yeah.
When you went, Jim, did you happen to check out the bathrooms?
Well, yeah, there's a whole story behind the bathrooms with some other friends that I'm not going to talk about here. But, yeah, you as a male, because you're standing up, you can look out the window and enjoy the view while you're using the restroom, right?
Definitely. It looks like a painting.
Yeah, it does look like a painting. So certainly had a great time there. I know they've got a variety of wine and craft beer offerings there. They showcase several of the local breweries and wineries there, as well as they've got a small production of their wine. I'm guessing that was probably your only winery for Friday since you were there at sunset, because they normally close around that time. What'd you guys do after the winery?
After the winery, we were pretty burnt and kind of went back to the hotel and crashed.
Yeah.
And we woke up early Saturday, went for a walk on the beach. Enjoyed in Mexico. Of course, we had to get some morning tacos in us, and went and did a few more wineries.
Yeah. So, do you remember which wineries you went to on day two?
So for day two, we went to Valley Girl.
Yep.
That winery, and I forgot the name of the other two. I know one of them was overlooking like a little kind of pond/lake. It was the one with all the boats that are upside down.
Okay. I'm kind of not really following along, but
all the buildings are built with the bottoms of boats.
Okay.
So the bottom of a boat was actually put upside down. They dig a hole in the ground and they actually build everything around these boats.
Yeah.
The whole winery is, built inside these boats.
Yeah. You were at Venacava, the great winery. Yep. Phil and Eileen run that place. Small production. We've had some of their wines featured on our website. Hard to get, but worth it if you can find it. So, okay, let me ask you this, because I know the route into that winery. You're bouncing down some dirt roads and you see these upside down boats, and it's like, oh, this is a winery. I mean, what was your impression when you went in and you tasted the wines? Was it what you expected? Was it better than, or was it very artistic? What are your thoughts?
It's tough because you get so caught up in everything around you. You walk in, it feels like in a cave. Just the way the weather and the way the temperature kind of feels on your skin is interesting. And you look on the side of the walls and it's all the sand, because they actually built into the ground, dug up, and put the boats on top of it. So the whole place is naturally cool. It's it's not hot in there or anything. You walk out, temperature changes immediately.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something to see.
Yeah. Now, you're right about getting caught up in all your surroundings. Like I mentioned, you're going into that place on a dirt road. They do have a one of the top bed and breakfast facilities on that property. It's kind of away from where you were at. I think they only have 6 rooms there or so, but it's a B&B, and they've made a name for themselves with that. So, as you bounce around a couple of these special places down there, and driving down the highways, the sights and sounds down there, there's an enormous amount of new construction and other wineries down there. What was going through your mind as you're cruising down the highway?
Man, I mean, I just love to be down in Mexico. It's something different that you can't find in, anywhere in, the state. But you go down this highway, and it's about a 15-mile highway, I'd say, around there, 10, 15. They have all sorts of wineries, different buildings. And to visit the winery is one thing, but to see how it's built and everything they work with down there, because a lot of the wineries down there are built with, recycled materials. They're self-sufficient. For example, it's like Vinacava, for the roofing they had over all the tables where you'd sit down and eat or taste your wine. They had a full netting, and it was actually made with reused irrigation hose.
Uh-huh.
So you never notice that until you looked into it, and you're like, wow, this because irrigation hose is always, used down there, and after a certain amount of years, you just can't use it anymore. It becomes trash in a way, and it's nice to kind of see them helping the environment and reusing everything they can down there just to make it as nice as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It is amazing the recycling that's going on down there and the artistic side of using some of those items, whether it comes to pottery, ceramics, tiles, etc. Where'd your day go from there? Venacava is a great place to start out, especially after a good breakfast. Do you remember some of the other spots that you went to that day?
After Vinacava, we went, and I forgot the name of the place. It might come to me, but I know we went and actually helped out a winery where we actually helped them trim back some of the harvesting. So we'll actually trim some of the branches on the tree, the actual grape tree, and we'll go ahead and seal them off. So no, insects or no, viruses or whatever gets into the tree itself and helps it from not growing. We'll actually go and cut all those branches off and seal them. And we did that for some of the winery, which is cool to kind of see what goes behind it instead of just looking at it from the outside.
Yeah.
We actually got to kind of deal with and see what all the grape trees are about and everything. We've got to learn about all that different stuff and see different grapes and see what makes them good or not.
Yeah. You were actually at Trevista Winery, which
Trevista.
Yeah, which is owned by Hilda Pacheco, who started the Corazon de Vida Foundation. I remember that they were going into the season when they have that day where people can come down and volunteer and everything. I'm so glad that you got a chance to do that. It's their annual clipping party is what it is. So let me ask you this, and I did kind of put you on the spot for calling out some of the places that you went to, and I certainly understand. You do get wrapped up in the moment, especially your first time, because you're blown away and it's hard to remember all the places you went. Just give us an overall perception. You went down for the first time. You had a great host, your mom, who knows her way around. Would you go back? Would you bring a date? Or would you take your friends? What are your thoughts after being down there for the first time?
Oh, definitely. I know just from posting, little clips and videos on my Instagram story, people were in love with it because it's not just something that, kind of an older, person thing. It's something that is an experience. Mm-hmm. It's not just going down there and tasting wine. It's seeing all these places. That's one thing and part of it. And then also obviously tasting the great wines and beers they have down there. And I can't forget the food. Everybody loves food. So the different cheeses. Actually, Saturday we stopped by the cheese store, which I think you've gone before, Jim, right?
I have. It's a great spot.
Yeah, there's about 50 plus different cheeses. You walk out of there, stuff full, just samples all day long.
Yeah, no, they everything's fresh there. It is an interesting experience. I love the economy of scale down there because it is so inexpensive to go and buy literally a block of cheese. It almost sounds silly to talk about. I know the first several times everybody wanted to go in there, I was like, no, let's not waste the time. Once I did go, it became a staple on my trips because it is fascinating. They've got some great selections. They also have olive oils in there, wine, some breads, fresh breads, and then some kind of trinket items, touristy type things. Oh, they've got great olives and olive oil. So, you wound up in a good spot. Like I said, you had a good host, took you all the right spots, and it's fun hearing that you enjoyed the experience of going into the cheese store as well.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, prior to going on the trip, wineries, I was kind of thinking, okay, it's going to be a building. There's going to be some grapes there, wine tasting. But going back to what I was saying earlier, it's not just the wine tasting. It's everything that collides and becomes one big experience that you just can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Between looking at the places, the people are so nice, the different foods you could try, and the drinks and, everything in between.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm really glad that you had a good time. You had the opportunity to experience it for the first time. And it sounds like you're definitely going back, whether that's with your mom as your host or maybe with your buddies next time.
Definitely.
So on the lead in to the show, I mentioned that you have some transportation people might be interested in, especially if they're heading south. And this is really what intrigued me to call you in the first place, and that is your business that you own. It's called the Van Mart, and you guys basically build out Sprinter vans, whether they're new or used. I mean, you could probably tell it better than I can. So tell us what the Van Mart is and what you guys do.
Yeah, so we'll actually do any kind of van. If it's from a Mercedes Sprinter to a Ford Transit to a Ram ProMaster, everything in between, and we'll actually build them out. And then we also sell parts for people to build out themselves for either camping reasons or, traveling, or we have people that live in them, people that, and when I say live in them, I mean, they totally sell their house, their cars and everything. And they're living in, almost a luxury home on wheels, quite not an RV, but that's the whole kind of thing behind it. Uh-huh. These Sprinter vans, I know from, our area in Huntington Beach is you can't park anything more than 16 feet on the street. within a 24-hour period or you're going to get towed.
Uh-huh.